So today what we're going to discuss is right here. Why women need more sleep than men. So ladies, when you're working with me, I need you to get in bed during a certain time. I need you to actually get a certain sleep. Why? Because the clinical outcomes that you want, that you have not been getting, this can be a big contributor. Now, let me set some things up when I say this, because I have gotten pushback on some of the things that I said about it, because right away when I say women need more sleep, okay, they think there's almost a weakness that's there. No. Guess what happens? Men need more protein. There's a difference in sexes. One key health advice, ladies, that I think is universal. I've always said that advice for specific people is very individualized. Ladies, I'm telling you right now, you need more sleep. Every woman. See, there's a reason why the body does that. Now, me saying that, let's take a look right here. Women don't need more sleep because they're weaker. They need more sleep because their physiology is doing more work. I can honestly tell you, I am fascinated with the female body. Extremely fascinated. Now, let's build upon that. Women's bodies run more complex biological systems requiring increased nightly recovery. So let's just talk in general for both sexes. Let's just say that physically, you are more active during the day. You're gonna have a higher demand on energy levels, higher demand on nutrients, hormones, all stuff like this. And let's just say it's just based on physical activity. Guys, push yourself really hard today. Work out more, move more, do things. You're gonna find out that you just seem to sleep more. You're more tired. It's that you need more recovery. And that recovery is so important. Now, there is research out there saying that women need at least 20 minutes more sleep than men. I think it's much greater than that. But let me show you why. Brain activity. Women show higher daytime neural activity, so more nighttime repair is required. That's quite interesting, because I do, hear a bunch of fallacies out there. You hear this all the time. We only use 10% of our brain. That's not really true. But women, once again, they are, even during scans and research, they actually show that they have more daytime neural activity. Now, if you want to talk about a metabolically expensive organ, it's your nervous system. So here's some of the backing to it. Here we go. A woman's brain runs a more complex 24-hour cycle. Now, they have done functional MRIs, EEGs to show the women's brains experience, here we go, more diverse neural activity during wake cycles, faster switching between networks, greater executive function engaging throughout the day. A more active brain during the day requires more repair at night. If you think about it, with more brain activity, there's certain areas of both the limbic, decision-making, impulse control, emotional reasons that are activated. So ladies, guess what? You're more emotional than men. That's a good thing. Let's go on. This is very physiologically, nutritionally, biochemically sound. A woman's higher regional daytime neural activity is associated with higher localized ATP demand, okay? What does it mean? ATP is our energy source. You need more. Okay? Now watch this. Let's go next. That means greater glucose, let's take a look. Greater glucose usage, increased recruitment of ketones, and higher micronutrient cofactor requirements. So the demand neurologically actually puts a demand on them from a nutritional, from how they convert glucose or use ketones, from how they actually use any area to create that energy demand. So therefore, guess what? That's why I'm very particular about women hitting their nutritional needs, because just a normal day, there's such a high demand. So now, once again, you could be very low on your physical activity that day, but if you have a high mental, a high stress load, by the end of the day, you're exhausted, you're drained. And that's why, once again, it creates an emotional response, and that's okay. It's okay that you feel mentally exhausted. I'm just telling you that I want to support your nutritional, your glucose, your ketone, all the factors so you can produce that ATP so that you do have that. And even if we give you all those things, do you know what pulls that all together for repair? Sleep. Next, immune workload. Wow, there's my second, well, that's pretty much my primary love. Stronger immune activation requires a deeper sleep for restoration. I want you to think about just from a simple standpoint. If you are challenged, both men and women, by some bacteria, by some virus, but all of a sudden they have an immune load, okay? Guess what happens? They're like, oh, they're tired, they're quiet, they're not. And if you got a really bad cold, okay, and you got the flu, and your immune system is even dealing with it and you are going to recover just fine. Do you understand there still is a high energy demand, which is going to do what? It's going to create a high demand of recovery. We notice that we are going to sleep more. But let's take a look more in detail. Here we go. Women generally have a higher immune activation because the autoimmune susceptibility and stronger antibody responses women have. There are more immune checkpoints. They do have higher inflammatory signaling phases, more detoxification cycles at night. The immune system does most of its repair during sleep mode. They show that if you have low sleep, even just by hours, or disrupted sleep, your immune system actually is affected very negatively, very negatively. And I can already hear you wonderful moms saying, but my kid got up in the middle of the night, and this. Yes, I'm not saying that we live in a perfect world, but I'm telling you that I still have to give you that advice regardless of your circumstances. What created my hypothesis a long time ago that women need much more sleep than men is actually the whole hormonal cycles, right here. This right here is the fascinating part of the human body when it comes to women. Monthly endocrine fluctuations demand additional metabolic, aka ATP, regulation during sleep. Much more fluctuations. But on top of it, I'm combining this with just the female sex organs of the reproductive load. Even ladies, if you want to get pregnant, cyclic tissue turnover and fertility preparation increases recovery demands, okay? Ladies, I know, and see, that's my empathy for women, is you guys have these hormonal workloads and these reproductive workloads. It's just gonna happen. Let's take a look at some of these hormonal cycles. Hormonal cycles require extra nighttime metabolic processing. Women have monthly fluctuations, estrogen, progesterone, and a bunch of other hormones. Changes in temperature, more immune variations across it when it comes to the cycle. Two amplifying endocrine organs, the adrenals and the ovaries, are consistently adapting to all the things. Hormones are chemicals, they're messengers. By the regulation of them is metabolic labor, ATP. Sleep is the lab where those reactions get balanced. See, once again, we talked about brain activity. We talked about immune workload. We talked about hormonal and reproductive things. And guess what happens? The thing that brings it all together is sleep. And you say, well, doc, males have things like this. Yes, but not to the extent that you do. So therefore, I hypothesize you're gonna need more sleep, but let's continue. Here we go, let me prove it more. Highlight pregnancy and reproductive hormones. We talked about this. Even when not pregnant, the fetal body maintains the womb. Cycles massive tissue turnover, hormonal clock optimization, high iron demands, and blood building because you lose a lot of blood. These systems don't shut off, ladies. They run daily regardless of what you want to happen. The body's prepared for the possibility of supporting another life. So recovery demands are higher. Once again, if recovery demands are higher, there's a nutrient, there's a tissue, there's an energy, there's a glucose, there's a hormonal. I can give you a massive list just from the hormonal demands of your body. That would blow your mind. That would absolutely blow your mind. Now you have all these different things going on. You also have a circadian rhythm. Cortisol goes up, cortisol goes down, and you can look at some of those patterns and go, this is when I should probably go to bed. And if you look at the recovery and the production of certain hormones, guess what happens? Going to bed at a specific time is very important because, let me give you, I'm a big proponent of women being bed between 9 and 10 p.m. Now why? Because of the release of growth hormone itself. Because then it's gonna help you with estrogens and progesterones and vice versa and other hormones. So let's kind of run through them so you can research these and understand it. Growth hormone peaks during slow wave sleep and declines in late sleep. Sleep deprivation can disrupt growth hormone associations. It roughly releases a good hour to 2 after you fall asleep. So that's why I like between 9 and 10, so you have that growth hormone working to build up other hormones, like melatonin. Melatonin is a sleep hormone, okay? That's what it's called, the Dracula of hormones. Direct light directly inhibits the production. So when you think about this, that's why we try to tell my daughters and all my loved ones and everybody, keep the electronics, keep the light down. Make sure that's your environment for you to actually go to sleep and stay asleep is extremely well. Because right now there's lights in the studio. If I close my eyes, there's still a lot of light coming through. That's why you want to make your bedroom very dark. You want to create the circumstance for you to have the best sleep, okay? And once again, melatonin can be looked at. If we take a look here, you can see there's some deficiencies. And once again, and if all of a sudden you see people, because they're not setting the circumstances up, they go take a ton of it, and that's not always the answer also, okay? Because there's things that we can do to support it. And melatonin by nature only helps you fall asleep, only helps you go to sleep. It doesn't maintain your sleep. So I want your husband, okay, to know that you need more sleep than he does, and there's a massive more burden on your body. Let's take a look. Cortisol. Like we talked about, that rhythm that goes up. You can even check out the cortisol patterns. And once again, people say, well, doc, you want people to go to 9, 10, and that peaks between 6 and 8. Well, therefore, that's why I say women need 8 to 10 hours. Men can get away with it a little bit because they're not as affected of the overall hormone load that they have to recover. So that's why they can jump out of bed at 6 o'clock, even going to bed at 10 o'clock. Next, leptin. Once again, a hunger hormone that decreases with short sleep. That means you're going to want to eat more, all right? Ghrelin, an appetite-stimulating hormone that increases in short sleep. So therefore, bad sleep, you don't have you crave more, you want more, you have more appetite, not a good thing. Insulin varies with sleep, increases during late sleep, which is good because that's going to help you metabolically and grow. Testosterone, both men and women need this. It peaks in the middle of your sleep cycle, and it has a lot to do with your growth hormone production within an hour after you do sleep. Estrogen and progesterone's involved in sleep regulation. See, guys, hormonal cycles and reproductive systems never turns off. Never turns off. It's always there for both men and women. It's just more complex. So when I say, ladies, that you're more complex, that's actually, if you think about it, it's a beautiful thing. You give life. And I think that's the greatest thing that exists on this planet. So when I look at the reproductive hormonal system, it's actually so essential for us to even exist. And sleep pulls it all together for you. Let's go on. Women generally need 30 to 90 minutes more sleep per night because their brain processes more during the day. Their hormones fluctuate more. The immune system obviously at high intensity. Their reproductive system cycles monthly. Their detox pathways cycle differently. Their autonomic system runs hotter, aka their brain. More internal work, more recovery time. Women need more sleep because their biology is doing more and adapting more. It's not a flaw, ladies. It's an advanced, and I'm going to even put in the word, intelligent design. It's intelligent. And see, I believe there's such great intelligent design, and all we have to do is recognize it, look at it, and work with it, and support it. And sleep is one of the most supportive, and I would argue the most supportive thing that we can do. So 26 years ago when I looked at a woman, and there was hormonal issues and other things, I said, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you get that 8 to 10 hours of sleep? Because I believe healthcare-wise, it's going to cost you less money. You're going to get better recovery. And if you can create that as something that you make sure that's you're obsessed with. Now, I know some of you guys are asking, I can't fall asleep. I can't stay asleep. I sleep well till 2 o'clock. I wake up 5 times during the night. And that's where I need to believe that you need the individual guidance to work with somebody to figure out those things. And as you start to put those things back to normal, you're going to not only look forward to sleep, you're going to wake up in the morning and you'll be able to dominate the day like you wouldn't believe. You know this. Sleep really good. It just seems in the next morning you wake up crisper. And I want you to feel that every single day. So you can go and be the most wonderful individual, worker, mother, friend, sister, just gives you a better life. And that's what I want to share with you today.